Hello everyone, welcome to Love Talk. 2015 is in full swing and it's never been easier to connect to people or to find a date.
Although there are many benefits to this, it would be irresponsible of us not to talk about the negatives. And worse than just having negatives are the permanent scars and damage that sometimes come attached to this new form of connecting to people.
Today we're talking specifically about casual dating and casual sex. This has been made more popular than ever by apps like Tinder, and the landscape of relationships and dating has been changing before our very own eyes.
In a recent survey of 2,000 single women, as many as 82% have admitted to casual dating or casual sex. This is a number that most would agree is much higher than what most of us think.
With Britain now being one of the leading nations when it comes to casual sex and dating, we want to find out how this could be affecting our view on relationships, the opposite sex, and even ourselves.
We will also be talking to two guests who have experienced firsthand what the effects of this have been. They will be sharing their story with us shortly in the show.
We may be giving away the end of the show through this video, but here is why we think that casual dating is a bad idea.
I think in our culture, we're pushed in relationships so fast from the youngest ages. Like, you don't have a boyfriend? You don't have a girlfriend? Like, you've never kissed anyone before? What's wrong with you? Like, it's third grade. What are you waiting for? And it's like this, and you know I wish I was exaggerating, but you know it's that bad out there. And so we're so often rushed into this, and we don't even know sometimes how to just start the relationship. I was speaking at the students at Catholic University, and I was talking about 400 college students, and I said, okay, I want you to just tell me, when was the last movie you saw that portrayed masculine friendship? You know that a man can be a friend to a woman without implying something immediately sexual. When was the last time you saw a movie that portrayed masculine friendship? Not a single college student could think of one. One guy put his hand up, he's like, I know. I said, what's that? He said, Finding Nemo. And I said, okay, you got me, okay. Like they're fish, it's a cartoon, it doesn't count, but what a commentary on how the society simply fails to show us masculine friendship, how to even begin the relationship. We get in these things so fast. And I think a lot of girls today get burned because they jump into the relationship. I mean, they meet the guy, he's cute, they start hanging out and texting and hooking up and making out. Then she starts getting like all emotionally attached to him, and she starts like stalking him on Facebook without him knowing. And she's like, she's picking out her wedding dress on Pinterest, and she's only known the guy for like 2 weeks. Then 3 weeks into this thing, like, man, like it hits her, and she's like, oh man, I didn't know he drinks. I didn't know he looks at porn. I didn't know he flirts with other girls. I didn't know he builds a methamphetamine lab in the dorm with his friends on Wednesdays. Like, I didn't know that. And it's like, thus the point to take your time. But we jump in so fast, and then I got girls telling me, like, Jason, I can't break up with my boyfriend. I can't. I mean, because he told me if I ever broke up with him, he would die without me. I'm like, honey, if he would die without you, he doesn't need a girlfriend, he needs a therapist, okay? But we're prone to like get into these things so fast. But the beauty, I think, of kind of holding back a little bit, especially, incoming freshmen, you just got here, it's so exciting. The temptation is to cling on to love so quickly. But I think if you want a kite to go up, you don't run with it, you hold back a little bit. And that tension allows it to rise. And I think the same thing in human relationships. Take a step back. Now look at the benefits you get from doing this. A girl stepping back and say, okay, who is this guy? Who's so cute, who's so charming and fun and intelligent, but who is he? How does he treat his mom? How does he treat girls he's not attracted to? What do his ex-girlfriends think about him? Who are the men he chooses to surround himself with? You step back and get answers to these things. Ask yourself, okay, does he share my morality or does he tolerate my morality? Meanwhile, the guy can step back and think, okay, who is this girl? Why am I so attracted to her? Is it because she's just so cute? Or does she have virtue? Would I want a woman like this raising my children one day? And the period of this season of friendship lets you take a more sober assessment of the qualities of this person, to step back a little bit. Because if we don't, a lot of times we get into like missionary dating. Dating someone, hoping we could fix them and change them and convert them. And I think girls, unfortunately, are specifically guilty of this because you can see the potential in a guy. And everybody else like, well, can't you see he's got problems? Like, I know he has problems, but he smells good. I can't break up with him. But we got to understand, like, when going into the relationship, I mean, you only got one of two options. You're either going to break up with this man or you're going to marry him. That's it. There are no other options. Breakup or marriage is how every relationship ends. And that's why we should not date somebody unless we can see ourselves truly marrying this person. And if we don't know if they're worth marrying, then we obviously haven't spent enough time as their friends. And of the girls I dated at Franciscan, all of them started with, you see, simple friendships that gradually evolved into relationships. And by keeping it not initially romantic, I think it helped us to make a better assessment of, is this going to be a good relationship choice?
So let's go straight to the point here and be blatantly honest. Apart from immediate personal gratification, there are no benefits to casual dating whatsoever. We know that this is a strong statement, but just bear with us.
You have the dangers of being in bed with someone you don't know from Adam, STDs, and the worst damage it causes is the long-term detachment and disbelief and cynicism that people develop when involved in casual dating.
So let's look into these issues one at a time. You wouldn't give a complete stranger a ride if you are alone in your car. You wouldn't let them into your house, but you would let them into your bed. Where is the sense in that?
If it's already difficult sometimes to trust someone you know, imagine someone you just met. There is no way in knowing if this person has the intention to harm you or not. Surely it's not worth risking it.
This is one concern you will never have if you are in a committed and loving relationship.
But don't go anywhere, because in the last segment of the show, we'll be talking about the 2 long-term damages caused by casual dating. Welcome back, and sitting here next to me in the sofa today, we have 2 very special guests, because usually we bring couples on, or we have a panel. And today, because we're talking about casual dating, we thought it would be good to bring someone or 2 people who have experienced this. And a lot of people say that casual dating is usually a man thing or a woman thing, depending who's talking. So we brought a man and a woman. And we're going to start with our female guest, Sonia. Good evening, Sonia.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thanks for being on the show and for sharing this very important part of your life. I wanted to ask you, first of all, what was it that made you try casual dating? What happened that made you think this is something I need to try?
It wasn't a thought, like I wanted to try, I want to know what's there. I just happened to get involved into that casual dating. I came out of a very long-term relationship,
Right.
Over many, many years, and decided I wanted to date. Mm-hmm. But when you're together with someone for almost 10 years or over 10 years, you don't know what's outside no more, mm-hmm. because you never experienced, you've been with the same person. And I came out of a very different relationship, you know. Right. Certain relationships, they just finish because people grow apart, or I run away from that place that I was, you know, mm-hmm. physically, mentally, was a very toxic relationship. Mm-hmm. Therefore, I wanted to prove to myself that I was able to get someone.
Right.
And I came across casual dating, mm-hmm. by that.
And once you got into it, I mean, what were your experiences like? I'm not saying what were your experiences with certain people, but what was the overall experience like? What was it what you expected? Did you think it was something and then you found out it was something else?
I learned that actually that's what people do now is casual dating. You know, you usually, I suppose when you meet someone, you get to know them and you spend time with that person. But no, it's everyone. I think the word in the street is go with the flow.
Right.
In that case, I understood that's the translation for casual dating. If someone tells you they like to go with the flow, that means they will not get attached. And yes, I did. You just learn from it, and you do have to take it, because it makes you grow and makes you know where you want to go.
Now, you were saying that some people, people who go with the flow are not really looking for attachment. Were you looking for attachment?
You know, so that's a very amazing question because I suppose I was until I understood that as the months and the years gone by, I understood that I wasn't. I think deep down I wanted attachment, but I wasn't ready. In that case, I think came to a point that I may push people away that were ready to give me what I suppose I wanted. That was that new relationship, that, you know, that have someone next to you, you know, someone who you can call at 2 o'clock in the morning just because you wake up from a bad dream, and you push that people away even without noticing, and you end up in that situations. And I think mentally is what you're ready also. In that case, I think casual dating comes from both parties, really.
But tell me about an experience. You don't need to go into detail, but tell us about, you know, a not so comfortable experience you've had while dating, you know, with someone that you just met, and then, you know, you tried to get to know that person, and then you had like a not a so good surprise, like.
Yeah,
Do you want to share with us one of them?
I can.
There were probably a few, right?
I didn't want to say that.
Know,
Just...
yes, you know, I met someone, you know, once, and yes, we start dating. You know, everything was. I think with this one, what actually draw me back was he seemed different from all the others. Everything was going naturally. You know, someone that actually had a good job, and mentally you could see he was in that state of mind. He didn't do casual. That was his words. I don't do casual. Again, a person with children that was separate, you know, and was looking for that someone, as he said. In that case, yeah, we went out after work, and until one day, he disappeared.
From the face of the earth.
Yes,
disappeared.
And the most amazing thing was, after 2 weeks, I received an email. Yeah,
Wow.
saying, you know, I'm sorry for my behavior. What we had is gone, or something like that. Wish you all the best in the future.
And how long did that relationship last for?
Maybe 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think, you
Getting
know,
to know him.
yeah, it's just, you know, don't get me wrong, you know, you do get attached to people. Sometimes it's not the people, it's the moments that you have with that person. I think was that one that, you know, that for me, you just think the lack of respect for another human being is unbelievable. I think, you know, casual dating.
Because the question we're putting for people out there today is exactly this, is, you know, what are the pros and cons of casual dating, and what is the damage that it causes if it does cause damage, and what are the positives if they are positives. I mean, we've heard from Sonia. I want to ask, now we have a young man here next to me. I want to ask his point of view. What about you? I mean, Sonia started casual dating because she came from a long-term relationship and so on. What was your story?
My story was a bit different because growing up, the environment I was in influenced me to, you know, chase women. And, you know, I kind of took that on. And when I started dating, I wasn't, you know, dating to get serious with people, with women. I was dating to enjoy myself.
So you were the kind of person that you didn't, there was no chance in your mind of wanting a relationship. You wanted to take advantage of a situation.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that I was gonna be with, you know, the person for a very long time. It was more of, you know, that moment of pleasure. You know, that was what I was going out for. And every time I would go out to meet someone, that was the target. to find out how many women I will get their numbers and how many I will sleep with.
Right now, you are married, right?
Wow.
Yes.
You are married. So we're listening. This is a married man talking. You've changed your mentality,
Yes.
right? I want to just want to ask Sonia, because you look a little bit scared there. When you were at that point, I mean, did you think at that point when you were, going through the dating scene and so on, did you know there were men like this outside? Were you scared to meet men like this, or was that something you were open to the possibility of perhaps meeting someone like this?
Well,
Shocking.
when I was 18, I would think yes, because everyone, at that age is no, but sadly, it's a lot of men like that. And I came to that realization that age is just a number. Sometimes you think, will not date a 20 years old man because mentally that person is doing that. In that case now, doesn't mind which age. Sadly, yes, it is. And
did you ever have that mentality yourself? That, like he was saying, that he had?
No. I think was that. I think casual dating is sometimes in a woman's of mind plays a bit different than in a man's.
Right.
When you go in casual dating for 6 weeks, then if someone invites you to go in a date and then you actually like that person, I will throw them away because you just think, I can't do that. I just was dating someone a week before. And I think it's that, numbers are not very good.
Right.
But each one to their own, but I think the mentality is a bit different.
But women usually look for commitment, isn't it? Deep down.
Connection,
deep down, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's just like, is that a man, you see them as that protection, someone that when you lay down next to them, it's just like,
Feel secure,
you feel
loved.
safe. When you are in your house and you listen some noises,
They'll go and catch the thief.
yeah, and is that in that case in terms of a woman, and I think the players out there knows that and they offer that to them for that moment.
Okay.
They take
So-
advantage, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have to go to a break, but I promised Jethro that I'll give you time to speak when we come back. It's just that when you were saying that, I saw that Sonia was quite shocked and I had to ask her reaction. When we come back, we're going to hear from Jethro what his experience was. We can say, Sonia mentioned the word player there. We can say that you were a player, a little bit of a player.
Professional one, I would say.
Yes, but there was something that made him change. Your mentality has changed, your personality has changed, your standards in relationships in life has changed. So something's gone right. We're going to find out what it was. We're also going to find out from Sonia what was it that made her, how she sees casual dating now, and what made things change, if they changed at all. And this is what we wanted to find out in today's show. We wanted to find out the pros and cons of this. Are there more pros than cons, or vice versa? We're going to come back after the break, and we will find out from two people who've been there, experienced it, and like they say, they've worn the t-shirt, and they'll tell you their story. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, and we were listening to Jethro's story. Very interesting, and you were very courageous to actually talk about your past and how you used to think. Tell us a bit more about that. Tell us about how it felt. I know you were looking for, you're telling us you're looking for, for fun, having fun and do your thing, but how was it really? When after you left that woman, how did it feel? How was it? Could you tell us a bit more?
The experience, the moment is really good. And personally with me, every time I finish, my casual dating with the female, I intend to feel really bad but that didn't stop me to going out and doing it again.
Right.
And one of the main things that, you know, made it challenging but was because of the mystery behind it. And even though the women, they go along with it, they, you know, they don't know that they're being played. And that was an advantage for me because I used to, you know, show them security in terms of, you know, showing them that I have money. And especially women, when they see something like that, that to them, you know, reads security, and they intend to give away everything that they had.
Right.
So I was using that for my advantage.
Right. Did you ever get anyone calling you back like, hello, where are you? You disappeared. I'm sure you did, but how did you used to deal with that?
I never used to give in too much because I didn't want something to come back. You know, it was interesting in what you were saying about, you know, you was dating after 2 months and then the guy disappeared. You know, that used to be me. So I used to, you know, date people for 1 day, 2 days, maybe a week, and then I would just lock it off. I will never call them back or get in contact with them again. I'll just forget about it and move on to the next person.
Did you ever bump into one of your girlfriends?
I imagine how that situation must.
I have to ask you this.
It's happened before, but you know, I think it was such a long time that you know, nothing happened.
All right.
Now, I imagine right now you're telling a story, and there's there's a lot of women shouting at the TV, right, Helena? Oh, this guy, it's the kind of guy that if I could see him on the street.
Well, hopefully after today's program, they will understand what also happens behind.
But what we wanted to find out from you, Jethro, is, I mean, what made you change? I mean, I'm sure you didn't wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to get married, right? What was that changed in you that you felt you needed a change? I mean, you mentioned that sometimes you would feel bad about what you would do with those women, but then you would go back and do it again. So what made you change? What was the point you thought something had to change?
You know, as I was growing up, I came to this stage where, you know, my thinking started to change, and I wasn't hanging around with the people that I was hanging around with before, because, you know, I had a lot of influences from my friends at the time. So once I started to change my companions, my friends, the people that was around me, you know, I started to, you know, see different examples of people that has been, you know, doing well in their life. And then I started to take that on for myself. The more I took that on, the more the desire to, you know, change my situation and to, you know, be in a relationship that I can be proud of or take home to my mom.
So you wanted that. Did you ever want deep down to say, look, you know, I want to settle down, I want to have a family, I want to have a proper relationship? Did you want that?
I never wanted that, because I remember at a certain point when I used to have a conversation with my cousin, and we used to say we're never going to get married. I'll start thinking about it when I'm over 30.
You got married, how old were you?
I was 27, 28.
Right.
Around that age. Yeah. So, you know, it wasn't something that I planned. It just happened naturally because of the influences that I had.
So you changed your environment, and that started to change the way you thought. So comparing things to how, you know, playing the field, is that how they say it? Playing the field before and settling down, getting married. You've been married for a few
Almost
years now.
3 years.
3 years. How does it compare? Is it better or worse?
It's a million times better. I can list many reasons why.
Give us one.
One of the reasons is, you know, comfort. You know, I have someone to talk to. I have someone to share my time with. You know, I'm not just gonna come home and then see an empty bed. I have someone to come back home to.
And to a man, that's important, because usually it's women, right, Helena?
Yes.
Women say, oh, I want someone to talk to, and so
Someone
on.
who's committed, who
Yeah.
will be there for me.
So it's interesting that Jethro's saying that as a man. For a man, that's important
Yeah,
as well.
so men think about that as well, isn't it?
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, men cannot stay without women, and even though
Hold on. Not without women, without the woman, right?
That one, that
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
a lot of men will not admit it,
Mm-hmm.
but I know deep down that's what they truly want, because I wanted that.
Okay.
So basically, the people you used to hang around with were the ones that created. Because you were telling us about your story a while back, and how it was like, you should do this, you should also do that, you should try it, isn't it? So people that you used to be friends with were a very bad influence on you, and that played a big role in you being who you were before.
Yes, I mean, my friends before did play a big role in influencing me, but I wouldn't put all the blame on my friends, because
Yeah,
I was the one doing all the jobs. So I wanted to, go out there and do it.
Like
I wanted to
compete with them.
exactly. I mean, obviously there's a time that we get around together. We start talking about who we slept with, or the things like that.
It's about competition then.
Yeah, there's a bit of that.
So it's good that there's one less player in the UK. That's a good thing. Now,
And I'm really happy that you've changed, and I'm sure you will inspire many to change as
and that
well.
you've had the honesty to speak about things so
Yes.
openly. Now, going back to you, Sonia, I mean, where are you now in life? I mean, how do you see dating? Do you still see dating as you did before? I mean, has anything changed? How are you now?
Yeah, it did change, when you hear the question like, why are you single, doesn't bother me no more. I prefer to be single than be with someone that will not know how worth I am.
Right.
Because I know. I spent many years in a relationship in a marriage actually, because that I was taught that I wasn't worthy, and it took me very, very long time to reach the place that I am now. In that case, I decided that casual dating, it can be when you are in a state of mind that, as you said, you don't want to be bothered, you don't want to open up. It's very scary for me, actually. I think casual dating was okay for me because I wasn't ready to meet someone and tell them my story. A man that will suddenly ask a lot of questions, who are you now? That case, they need to know who you were.
Did that scare you if people would ask you that
Yes,
question?
because I think a long time ago I saw myself as a victim of domestic violence. Now I see myself as a survivor.
Right.
In that case, the perspective is totally different. I'm not scared no more. I don't have a problem to tell people that, because the way I say it and the way I see it now, I don't, when I said something, you have people looking at you, oh my God, and that you just think like, no, that's not the reaction. Now, I really don't care what reaction anyone will have to my story, because I think, we all have a story to tell. And I think when you get to that point that I made it, that's what I say to myself every single day. I made it out of a place alive. In that case, I am very proud. And I think now I'm ready to actually have that person to come home to cook for, He does need to know how to do gardening, because he destroyed my nails. But, I want that, Okay. I want that. I want the fight.
You were saying something very interesting during the break, if I can just ask you to speak about before we finish. You said that casual dating, there's more hard work, and I can't remember how you put it, than what it's worth.
Yeah,
how,
it is.
How did you put it?
I find it that, I think we all should go through that stage. It helps a woman to grow, and it helps you. helped me to find myself. Once you know who you are, you know who you want in your life. And whatever a man comes, whatever game they bring on, you're already 10 steps ahead, and that's it. It's not worth it, no, because it's the headache that it brings with it, you know? It's the whole game. Don't text, you know, wait 2 days. Let's play like that. Let's do it like that.
Who's the first one to text? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you know, and you think, you know something? I don't have time for it. It's just, it's not worth it, you know, is that. And I think, you know, a man that does that, I think they have a lot of, they have a very big ego and they are scared.
And can I just ask you a final question?
Yeah.
Women.
Yeah.
Are there women that do that as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I'm sure this
Let's
is...
not all attack the men, you know, I don't have nothing against the men, nothing.
Okay.
Yes, and when a woman does, they are much better. Because, you know, in terms of playing the game, yes, they are
seducing
much
and all
better.
that,
Yeah. A woman can do it better.
And hopefully, Helena, people can understand it's not a game. Listen, this thing of, you know, who texts first and the rule of waiting 1 day to text, come on, guys, we're adults. If you just like the person, just text, just call. What's wrong with it? I mean, when we met, Helena, I think at that time, I didn't even have a mobile phone, right? You had one, remember?
I had one.
She had a really small mobile phone. I had no mobile phone. This was, I don't know, 15 years ago, perhaps.
Yes.
So, you know, we went on a first date. I held her hand and we walked. And I tried to kiss her. She didn't let me kiss her, but I tried again. You know, later it happened.
You had to wait a little bit. You had
Exactly.
to earn it. You had to earn it. It's true.
But-
I didn't know him that well. So.
But the thing is, you knew where you stood, right? That's the
Yes,
important part. I didn't try to play a game, hide my feelings. You didn't try to hide yours. And
It was
sincerity is
a
the
very
best
healthy
thing.
way of dating, and
Yeah,
I think people should go back to basics.
Yeah, and I think it's that is what's missing, you know, because when you know I met my ex-husband, you know, it was all different. You know, now is the basics. You know, is you know, before if you wanted to see someone, you made the effort. Now, if you wanted to talk to someone, you grab a phone or you knock their door. You know, now you send them an email. You go to Facebook and you send them a message. You know, it's all of that. You know, you waited to talk with someone in the end of your day and ask them, oh, how is your day? How was it? You know, even now, I think relationships, not just between a man and a woman, I think between human beings in general, it is getting, for some reason, destroyed by social media.
Yes, I agree with you. And the thing is, you know, I don't know, this might be a bit controversial, but it's like people, businesses are taking advantage of people's misery, like they are alone, to make more money out of dating and online dating and this dating and all these apps and all these things that are really not helping everyone. There might be exceptions, but there is a lot more damage than good.
Absolutely.
From what we've seen in the papers and even listening to your story.
No, I do believe, you know, that casual dating is, you know, is a way of passing time. What's really sad, you know, like you said, you know, people, if you like someone, I came to that point that if I meet someone and I like them, I don't have a problem in saying, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, and I think people have too much fear to say, I like you. You know, what's the problem, you know? And I think that will cause less of a headache and
so
pain.
much more romantic, isn't it?
Yeah, you know.
I still have my love letters.
Okay, let's forget about
You
that.
don't like it. You don't like me to talk about the love letters. but
Guys,
no,
thank
I'm
you
a
so much
man.
for being on the show. And it was a
welcome.
pleasure. I'm sure we could have done another 2 segments with your stories, both of you. So thank you very much. Thank you for your courage, Jeff,
Indeed.
for talking about your past.
problem.
And
I'm
well
sure.
done for you overcoming all that abuse and knowing who you are and what you want out of life. Well
Absolutely.
done.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and I'm sure your wife is watching. So I'm sure she'll be proud that you've changed. You're
This
a
is
changed
my man now, isn't it? She's like,
I got him.
So don't go anywhere, because after the break, we'll be right back to wrap up this subject, and you'll also have a chance to see what happened on our special date, Helena and I. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We've been talking about casual dating and casual sex. We already spoke about the first danger in doing this. Let's go straight to the second one.
Of course, that on the subject of casual sex, STDs come hand in hand. Before you judge us and start telling us of all the ways you can protect yourself against this, let us just tell you that, according to a recent survey, 1/3 of people who engage in in casual sex don't use protection.
And even if they did, there is always that remote chance and doubt in the back of the person's mind that this could be a problem at any time.
In 2006, there were nearly 500,000 cases of STDs registered with the Health Protection Agency. This is a scary number if you are a fan of casual dating. Think of it as a deadly game of Russian roulette.
The final and most serious problem that comes with the territory is how you will start seeing relationships in your mind. Most people will start becoming quite cynical about people's intentions, even if they want to be in a relationship with you for the right reasons.
Because the previous recent experiences have been with people who are only after one thing, this is how people will perceive everyone else around them to be.
Not to mention that science has proven that what promotes attachment in a relationship is the release of serotonin that happens when a couple are intimate together, bound by commitment and love.
If there is no commitment, your mind starts to crave this attachment because you were intimate with someone. But it never happens because the person is never there for more than a few hours.
This is the reason many people have stopped believing that marriage and love is a possibility. Hopefully, today's program will help you to see things from a different and more helpful perspective. All in all, we doubt you'll find someone who's been in casual dating for more than a few months, perhaps a year, and has great things to say about it. Most people will say that it causes more harm than it does good, like one of our guests said. So perhaps you've been craving commitment and you've been doing casual dating. Sometimes it's a good idea to stop for a moment, be by yourself for a little while, and just stop and think if that is being beneficial for you or not. It may be a hard decision, but one that pays off if it's the right decision to make.
So before we go, let's watch our date. We went on a date and we had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy it. Until then, see you. Bye-bye.
See you next time. We just finished our date. We had a wonderful time, and you saw us on the Pedlos. We had a chance to walk around and relive some of our dating moments.
Yes, it was really, really good, really relaxing. It's just a shame it's time to go now, isn't it?
Absolutely, but we hope you had a wonderful time watching it, and you can follow our example. Go and have a good time with your partner. I'm sure you'll enjoy it as much as we did. And, you know, if you come to Alexander Palace, you can always have a look at the deer enclosure as well, which is great.
Yes,
See you next time.
absolutely. Bye.